It's the Growler with PD&Jay, here to analyze for you today. From Growler Bet to Jay's got stats, we hope you enjoyed this episode of the Growler Podcast.
All right. Welcome into the latest edition of PD&Jay here on the Growler. Paul Danier Jr. Happy to be back with my good friend Jay Morrison, who's back from the beach and hanging out with Luke Combs and, fresh off some form of drum circles and general gallivanting. How are we doing? Are you feeling good? Are you refreshed?
I was until that baseball game last night, and now I was kind of hoping we would do Who Day Nights tonight. This is a rough turnaround. There's been many mornings when I've regretted mistakes from the night before. This is a rare one where I remember all of them. But yeah, I know you were right there with me. We both stayed up and watched the whole game, and here we are. We're here for the Growl Pals.
Yeah, Shohei Ohtani. I didn't expect him to have through his translator the perfect closer of the night is I need to get to sleep as soon as possible, and we're all just like, "Yep, cannot agree more with you, Shohei." The stars, they're just like us, right?
Yeah.
All right, we've got a bunch of stuff we want to get to. Of course, it's not great in Bengals land, but we are gonna try to parse through it here. Our good friend Mo Egger is going to join, and we're going to see where that goes. You guys know how that typically goes. There's a lot to unpack with this. It feels like a good big picture conversation day, Jay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna unleash that beast a little bit later. We've got some of the news. Joe Flacco, Trey Hendrickson on the injury report, I guess, or injury situations with both of those guys day to day. Al Golden spoke yesterday after the defensive debacle from Sunday. There was a players only meeting, which I have many on the record thoughts about. And we'll talk about that. Our Camargo insurance run, pass, or boot, a good one this week. We'll get into that. And Jay's got stats. Growler Bet. It gets more and more. The plot thickens on the Growler Bet, Jay, is all I'll say, teasing that one. You have some trivia for me, some ARBIES, so we will get to all of those things. Before we get going, though, do want to remind everybody about our next live event. I'm not going to call it a show because it's not really a show. It's just a hang with us, with the Growler crew, down at the VIP room at BetMGM. If you guys haven't seen it, it's awesome back there. There's TVs everywhere, couches, tables, your own bar. It's an unbelievable place to have an event for a big game or whatever. Well, we are going to, for the 1 o'clock window on the bye week, so Sunday of the bye week, we're going to have us in there in the 1 o'clock window watching games, hanging out. And if you want to talk Bengals with us, we'll be around. We're going to have exclusive parlay boosts for that 1 o'clock window, just like we do at the live shows. We'll be giving away tickets to the next home game, which is the Patriots game, just like we do for all the live shows. But it's going to be a little bit more of kind of an intimate, fun hang, more than a official, formal show. If that sounds like something you'd be into, hit us up at the Growler Podcast at gmail.com. Let us know if you want to come, how many people you want to be in your party, and we will put you on the list. So just send that in to us if you think you want to come. Again, that's the bye week. I do want to say from our last live show, I do have to I got to call out Michael Bogan, who had family members, his sister, everybody there, came into town, sat at the front table. And he decided, because it was a Thursday and he didn't live near here, he wasn't going to call off work and come into town just like everybody else. They all love the podcast. They're listeners to every single one. But yet some of them seem to sacrifice more for us, Jay. And so this one's for you, Michael. Shame. Everybody else was there. They were all hanging out there, wondering where you were. I was wondering as well. So hopefully maybe next time it'll be worth more to you to hang out with your friends and family.
Maybe he'll be there on the bye week show.
Wouldn't that be great? I don't think I can count on it according to those that are closest to him. But anyway, no, appreciate everybody for that came down and that listens regularly. It was great to hear from you. I told them I would give you a hard time for not showing up, and I've now checked that box. All right, let's get into some of the news, Jay.
Yep.
All right, Joe Flacco has a sore shoulder. He is day to day, and we're getting the we'll see it through the week from Zac Taylor on that one. Just vague enough to make Bengals fans nervous. And I kind of laugh. I talk about how my girls have really picked up football and really starting to understand it more and having some decent takes when I come home. On the way to school today, they were like, "So does that mean Jake Browning's going to have to play? Because we don't want that." And I was like, "Man, even the 8-year, 6-year-olds are like onto the fact that they don't want to have to go back to Jake Browning at this point."
Yeah, I mean, I think they speak for all Bengals fans. It felt like Flacco ran in, probably got some sort of shot, pain numbing shot, and it didn't look like he was throwing the ball. It looked like he still had the same zip when he came back after that. There's the adrenaline. I mean, it's a drive to win the game. Your adrenaline's already pumping because you're in the middle of a game. So it will be something to monitor this week. But I wouldn't resign myself to the fact that it's going to be Jake Browning. I think there's a good shot that Flacco can come through this.
Yeah, I mean, I think legitimately you're talking about a 40-year-old with a sore shoulder. Been there. Okay. Sometimes it takes a day or two, but that's the thing with the older quarterback. And we haven't really talked a ton about, as there's been so much, obviously there's excitement over his arrival and what he's done to the offense. And we talk about the defense now. The thing is that the hard part of this was always going to be him surviving through a full season. He's hardly taken many hits. I mean, he's done a good job of keeping himself clean. The Bengals line has done a good job of meshing with him, getting the ball out quick, and all that's worked. This is one of the, that was one of the first big hits that we've seen him really take. And he comes up with the sore shoulder. So that's going to be that's a part of this, of the risk of the Flacco move, is that there's going to be probably multiple weeks like this where you're working him through the week. That's the nature of being a 40-year-old quarterback. But keep it locked to us and on the show, and as we go through the week, and we'll make sure you are fully up to date on everything with him. Trey Hendrickson, I don't think, he played through it. I think it felt like when you look back on it, that might have been a mistake for him to play through it. I don't think he was totally himself in that game on Sunday before he got hurt. And then he went out with that shot kind of in the back on him from the Jets and didn't come back. I don't know. With the bye week on the other side of this, Jay, it feels like this is another one where it's like, man, it might be for the best of the full season that you just give Trey the extra time to recover, because this hip back, those aren't quick healing deals. And you can't just, I think he proved that you can't just go out there and grit it out week in and week out at this point.
No, especially against a mobile quarterback. That makes it even harder to, number one, get back there and then contain the guy and not let him leak out. And the Bengals get that back-to-back weeks with Fields and now Caleb Williams. So yeah, it makes all the sense in the world to rest him again, get that back right. We've seen him play through a lot of things, and I think that's why he tried to gut it out and go out there. Plus, we know he loves his stats, and he didn't want to take another day off and miss a chance for some more sacks, especially against a Jets offensive line that was not supposed to be very good. I'm curious, what's your take on that hit? Do you think that will draw a fine, or?
No, well, I don't know. I don't know what the league will say. I don't have a huge problem with it. I mean, it was directly in his back. What he did is what, linemen do. They find work. I mean, at the end of a play, you don't have anybody. You go find somebody that's engaged and you hit him in the side. The thing was, when Trey turned, he has his back to you. You'd prefer that guy pulls up, and maybe the league will say, we're not going to sit here and let that go away scot-free. Like, you're not gonna be able to just hit somebody in the back like that. But I don't think the concept of what he was doing is a problem for me. It's probably, something that you will end up tweeting out about at 4:00 on Saturday, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily have a huge problem with what he did. I know maybe some people do, but I think when you go over there, you're looking for work, you go to get the hit in, and the guy happens to turn his back to you. You hit him in the back. I'm not like against it necessarily.
Yeah, I think he almost kind of expected Trey to do a spin
Yeah.
move and circle back in, and he was going to block him, like you said. They're looking for work, and you could even tell by his reaction. As soon as he hit him, he was like reaching down to try to help him up. Like, oh, that didn't look good. So I would be surprised if he gets fined. But I know there was a lot of people upset about it, and I
Sure.
just wanted to get your take on it as well. And I asked
Yeah.
Zac Taylor about it, and he said he doesn't have any comment on that.
Yeah, I think he's like, I got enough problems on my plate. I don't need to be creating conversation around that right now. Or it's just like maybe he does have feelings, and this is probably not the venue to share them. All right. We did talk to Zac Taylor yesterday and Al Golden after what went down, and you've probably read that. Jay and I both have stories up if you want to read more about kind of what happened there, things that were said. Here's, as I went through it, the thing that kind of I couldn't get out of my own head, Jay, was the amount, and we talked about this on the rewatch yesterday, the sheer amount of inexperience that is on the field right now. And I reckon if you have time, go back and watch the rewatch with Charlie and I. We kind of dove a little bit more into the specifics of the game on Sunday through the defensive lens, and also much thanks to Justin Hill, who joined us. We talked about the evolution of the run game. He was fantastic on that. But that aspect of it is just so much. It was hard not to come back to that.
Mm-hmm.
There's just all of these big plays. Every one of the big runs, the explosive runs, the 4 rushes for 137 yards that were just backbreakers. There was a rookie at the core of it, that making the biggest mistake. There were others involved, obviously, but the one making the biggest mistake on every single one of those was a rookie. From Shamar to Demetrius Knight to Barrett Carter, obviously, and then you sprinkle in the others with some inexperience, and it's just showing up. And so I sort of just asked, like, do you just look at this as Zac Taylor as there's just the sheer amount of inexperience is the problem here? And his point was, this is where we're at. We have to create experience. I couldn't shake that. Like this, it's an admittance of this is where we're at. This is what it is. We're playing the young guys because we don't see any other answers here. The only hope is that they end up improving as the year goes along and you feel better about things as it goes. And it's just, you're learning whether these guys are even good. It's not just growing pains. It's learning about them as players. And it's just, they're not very good right now. And there's not a lot of other answers walking through that door. But this is the plan. Experiencing growing pains and the hopes that there's something better on the other side is the plan on the table. And there isn't another one.
Yeah, I mean, I keep flashing back in my head the line that Lou, remember in 2022, we were asking why he wasn't working in Dax, and just get him some reps here and there, get him some experience. And he said, every rookie you play will cost you a game or two. Well, they're playing 3 rookies. That's 3 to 6 games that's can cost you. So,
just cost him 1.
Yeah, just cost him 1 on Sunday. So that's a big part of it. And you're right. It is where they're at. I mean, they don't have a lot of other options. And when you think about it, that he was saying those guys were going to cost the team games in 2022 when they had Von Bell and they had Sam Hubbard and DJ Reader, and they had all these great leaders that you guys went into all that on the show before. There's just this void over there of somewhat of talent, definitely experience, leadership, all of that. And there is no other choice other than to throw them in now, see if they can kind of find their footing, make some mistakes early in the year. This team has done this so many times under Zac where they find their footing after midseason and really kind of go on a run. And that's probably a reason he went to Barrett over Logan as early as he did, just to kind of set that on-ramp for that. I don't see any signs of it that can happen this year. The only sign is that the offense is playing so well that if the defense, kind of what we go back to in the offseason, if the defense can just work their way up to average, then you do feel good about them having a shot to go on a little bit of a run. But right now, it's rough. You can't keep scoring over 30 points and losing games.
No, I had this stat. I tweeted this out yesterday. The rest of the league over the last 3 years is 86, 6, and 2 when scoring at least 38 points in a game. The Bengals are 1-3, the only team with a losing record. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, 3 losses when scoring 38 points. It's just not something that happens, but yet they've had to endure it multiple times. It was kind of the theme of last season, obviously, and has gotten worse here. I have other, I would have to shout out. I want to shout out Pat Mulvaney, a listener who came up with the new hot nickname of Jay Morbidson for all of the sad stats. I want to make sure he gets, we talked about it on Who Dey Light.
Yeah.
Jay Morbidson is amazing. So I think, we could have to, when we know the stats are going to be sad, we should really just call the segment Downer and Morbidson, because I feel like that's where it's about to go at this point. But I want to point, I have a sad one. And that was, I just went through, the Bengals are amongst the top 15 worst defenses in the last decade in terms of EPA per drive through the first 8 games of a season. So, I'm just trying to, you can pick your stat. They're right there in all of them. I just picked that one as a one to use. I was like, well, then what happened to all those teams? What happened to the 15 worst teams that started a season like that? How many charged forward? How many dug themselves out? This is a Downer and Morbidson special. So those teams, only 3 of them, I guess, because the Cowboys and the Bengals are both on that list from 2025. So there's 13 other teams. Only 3 of them dug out of the bottom 3 for that season. Only 3. And the highest they got to was 23rd. I mean, that's just the reality of what this is. The 21 Chiefs and the 2019 Falcons dug out to 23rd. That's as high as it gets. That's as good as you can hope for. And we talked about before the season, like, can you just get to top? Can you get to 20th, right?
Yeah.
Can you get to serviceability? And there's just no recent precedent of it looking like this through 8 weeks and then churning out something better. Maybe there can be. I mean, that was the beginning of a new growth for the Kansas City defense. It got better in years going forward, but that was from young picks turning into something. And right now they're not looking like they're going to turn into something. I do need to congratulate you. Your stat, boy, was that prophetic. The games after the mini bye, the Bengals were 0-9-1. It kept ringing in my head again on the way into the stadium. I'm like, man, that's a nasty trend. That is not just a couple of games. It's the same way we talked about the divisional primetime stuff. It was like the same idea. And then they go up and you're like, oh, I guess not. They're going to be a big deal. And there you were. Now at the very end, it was just a picture of, it should have just been a picture of you holding 0-10-1 up and just being like, some of these don't bet against the trend, right?
I mean, I felt safe tweeting that or writing that story because I thought, oh, this is when it finally ends. I never expected that. I didn't think they were going to lose to the Jets. I thought, it was going to be a closer game, but here we are. And now all they have to do to snap the streak is go to Buffalo and win, because they'll have a Thursday game on Thanksgiving against Baltimore. So they'll have another shot to snap that streak, that winless streak of mini buys. But I don't know that anybody is going to expect them to go to Buffalo and win.
Can't love that right now. But speaking of the loss to the Jets and how brutal it was, let's get to this week's Camargo Insurance Run, Pass, or Boot. By now, you, of course, know our guy Josh from Camargo Insurance. He is the judge and jury of Run, Pass, or Boot this season. You guys have been sending in your Run, Pass, or Boot suggestions that you want us to answer. If you have one, if you have an RPB, send it to Josh at CamargoInsurance.com, and he will pick which one is the best and submit it to us to read on each episode of PD&Jay. Now, reminder also email Josh if you want help and you want to feel better about your insurance situation, because Josh at Camargo is a true concierge experience. It's one-on-one help from somebody who gets it. And he's not just an average agent. He's a certified insurance and risk professional who helps business owners protect what they've built and plan for what's next. So if you own a small business, reach out to Josh to assure peace of mind that you have the best coverage available. He also works with the best carriers in the industry, so you can find the perfect coverage for home, auto, business, and life insurance. His mission is to empower you to live your best life with confidence, knowing that your coverage actually makes sense. And He's given back to the Growl Pals with 2 tickets to Bengals Ravens at home at Paycor. All you got to do is request the free no obligation quote. You don't have to buy anything to enter to win. Then you're entered for a chance for some seats. You also make your coverage actually make sense. A link to enter is found in the show notes, or you can just go to our website, thegrowlerpodcast.com, and click on the button right there and take you right there to fill that out. So if you're ready for insurance, it's simple, personal, handled by someone who's a trusted Growl Pal. Reach out to Josh at Camargo Insurance, your judge and jury of the RPB. Again, it's Josh at CamargoInsurance.com. This week's winning submission came from Jason Daly, who says the Jets, strangely, have a history of gifting the Bengals losses in games they had no business losing. Run, pass, or boot these 3 Bengals-Jets losses in order of franchise pain. Going straight for the pain, he says the game on Sunday, the Mike White 34-31 game in 2021, and the playoff loss in 2010, 24-14. Where run, pass, or boot those for me, Jay?
I'd like to go off the board and say the 1982 playoff loss when they played the Jets, and it looked a lot like this past Sunday with the Jets running for 234 yards. Freeman McNeil had 202. I was a young 16-year-old. I guess I would have been a sophomore, junior in high school at that time at that game, and just never expect. I mean, it was a home game for the Bengals, and they got blown out. In that vein, for these 3, I have to run with the playoff loss. A playoff loss is always going to be more painful than a regular season loss, no matter how unexpected they are. I think I'll pass on yesterday or on Sunday, and I'll boot the Mike White game. I'm trying to remember. They went to New York 2 years in a row, and I can't remember if that Mike White game was also the game where Mike Hilton got hit with the ridiculous use of helmet penalty that basically cost them the game. They were going to get a stop, get the ball back. It was just a routine tackle. It was one of the worst officiating calls. So because of that, I'll boot that one. But yeah, the playoff loss, that has to trump Sundays. And I had a relative getting married that day, and I was in a church, and literally the groom kept looking up at me, and I'm giving him thumbs up or thumbs down on how the game is going, because just a Saturday playoff game that they happened to have a wedding scheduled, and everybody in the pews were big Bengal fans and kind of watching the game, not watching the game, but watching the stats update on their phone.
Yeah, and the game in 2021 was sort of the impetus of that mid-season lull before the bye. Same exact spot. Game before another game that was good, then the bye in week 9, where they ended up 5-4 after they lost to the Jets. Mike White, they got their butts kicked by Baker Mayfield in Cleveland the next week, and then hit a bye and then took off. That was Joe Burrow led in a very different feel and team, but low points certainly where people were already starting to write off that season at the exact same point. Kind of interesting there. I'm with you though. Same order. Playoff loss always is going to be on top. I don't remember Freeman McNeil, although the Jets. Although, I mean, I remember him as a player. I had his card maybe, but the Jets jerseys, this reminded me of Freeman McNeil. I think I uttered his name in the press box looking at those jerseys, which I do enjoy the throwback nature. But yeah, you got playoff loss. You lost to Mark Sanchez in the playoffs. Okay. Like you're running with that every single time. And I will, Sunday certainly is going to be next in line there as a tough one to handle, but who knows? We don't know what comes next and what it creates as we go forward. We do know what's next is your chance to win Bengals Ravens tickets. The giveaway form is in the show notes at thegrowlerpodcast.com. It takes 2 minutes. Do the no obligation quote. You don't have to buy anything, and then you have a chance to go see the Bengals play the Ravens. Thanks to Josh at Camargo Insurance. Get in there today. Now let's bring in our good friend and yours, as promised, Mo Egger, ESPN 1530. Mo, how are you doing? How was yesterday's show? Upbeat?
Well, on that show, we have a rule. Winners go first. The UC Bearcats keep winning. So I really enjoyed talking about Scott Satterfield's team, the win over Baylor, the 7 straight victories, the road game against Utah, the opportunity to play in a game that there's going to be a little bit more attention. College game day is going to be there, the Big 12 race. So the first, I don't know, 45 minutes could not have been more upbeat. And then we started talking about Duke Tobin and Al Golden, who doesn't have a D in his name anymore again. And I'm not sure Duke Tobin should either. But then the show, the tone was decidedly sinister, dark, not fun. But here we are.
I like it in moments where, the team and the fan base and really everything about them is in turmoil, for us to let's just open it up and let's go big picture. Let's not be specific today. I want to just start with the fact that I know you called this the worst loss of Zac Taylor's tenure. Why was this one the worst one for you?
Because Justin Fields a couple of weeks ago threw for negative 10 yards and you lost to him. You lost to an 0-7 team where the owner just came out and dumped all over the quarterback. You lost to a team that didn't have its top 2 wide receivers, didn't have its top corner. And you lost a game that was, I don't want to say in the bag. It would have been one thing had they just gotten worked, had Joe Flacco turned into a pumpkin. And you know what? It just wasn't their day. And the Jets came in and beat them 28-10. It would have stunk. We would be saying a lot of the same things we're saying today. But to have that game, also, they came into it 3-4. Like the math is getting hard. There's not much of a cushion. And so to me, all of those variables, the quality of the opposition, the venue, the good vibes that everybody was feeling in the aftermath of their most recent game, the sense as the game was unfolding that, they're scoring a bunch of points, but they really haven't put these guys away. And then when they go 3 and out with 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, that sense of, everybody in the stadium felt it. It was, all right, how much time is going to be left when the Jets score and take the lead? It was like the sense of inevitability, the sense of non-shock that they lost the game, all of that. It's the worst loss of the Zac Taylor era.
So I was in Florida and I watched the first 3 quarters. Then I got in an Uber to go to the airport to fly home. Listened to Dan and Lap on the radio for the fourth quarter. So I wasn't in the stadium to really kind of feel it, but you felt that loss coming, like you said, but it's still, when they got the ball back, it just felt like they were going to go down and get a field goal, and Evan McPherson was going to win it. And it was going to be a lot of these same conversations, like what's going on with this defense, but they were going to pull it out. I don't know where your confidence level was when they got the ball back at the end. It was, especially after the first couple of plays of that drive, you're like, here they go. Yeah. They're right down here. And if Yoshi catches that ball, he catches it in field goal range, and then it just fell apart from there.
Yeah, minute and change to go, 3 timeouts, offense that for the most part had been very good. I felt pretty confident, but I remember thinking like, all right, if they win this game, I don't know that I'm going to feel the same way that I did after Pittsburgh. After Pittsburgh, it was the euphoria of beating the Steelers and the coolness of the Flacco story, and the season is back on, and they beat a hated rival. And, we'll overlook the fact that Geno Stone didn't know where Pat Freiermuth was. We'll overlook the fact that the defense nearly collapsed again. I thought to myself, I want them to win this game, but it's going to be really hard to not walk away from this game feeling, I don't want to say dejected, but not like you should after a victory in game 8 of the season. The defensive issues were going to be too hard to ignore. But yeah, sure. When they got the ball back, I thought they'll go down and kick 3 and, there'll be a happy ending to this game, but that's not going to wash away the frustration that I think all of us are feeling when it comes to what they can't do on defense or what they can't do on special teams, because the Jets drive starts for those last 3 scoring drives way too close to midfield.
But don't worry, Mo. No. It's going to be okay. You know why?
Players only meeting, right?
Players only meeting. What is a worse trope when your team or any part of it is bad? Ping pong tables or players only meetings? I don't know, man. To me, they're right neck and neck. The pulling out of the ping pong tables or the players only meeting. Like, okay, cool. Guess what? The same players are coming out of that meeting. Okay. And that's part of the problem.
Was it was it The Athletic last week that I read the definitive history of like ping pong tables?
Yeah.
And I don't remember.
I just only wish that I would have written it.
Yeah,
honestly.
I don't remember who wrote it, but they went team by team, right? It was like, here's the team's current policy when it comes to the ping pong table, and here's when they adjusted it. Yeah, it's the ping pong table, and it's the players only meeting. Did the players only meeting happen around the ping pong table? Did the players only meeting involve ping pong? It
ended in a ping pong tournament, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, how'd you like to be one of the guys on the offense, right? Right. Have you ever, if you've ever worked in a place where there's different departments and one department is underachieving, and you'll walk past the meeting room and it's like, oh man, look at those clowns. Glad I'm not in there, right? The offensive guys go have their own, like, okay, guys, let's have a party. They're having a meeting. We'll have a gathering. We'll have a get together. We'll have a party. We'll go out and socialize because, hell, we're doing our job. It checks the box. My biggest thing is this, and this is not new ground. I envision myself sitting in a position where Duke Tobin works for me. And we did this after Joe Burrow got hurt, where I go, if Duke Tobin worked for me, I ask him, buddy, why can't you fix this? We are having way too many conversations that begin with me asking, why can't you fix this? And so now it's the defense. And I feel like, and I could be wrong about this, I feel like Duke Tobin is in the public's crosshairs more than at any point during his time in Cincinnati. Folks are mad at Zac and they're mad at Al Golden, and I understand all that, but I feel like this is the one where people are like, this dude knew that last year's defense stunk, and this is what he did to it, and now we have to trust this guy in all likelihood to fix it next year. And so I keep coming back to imagining him sitting in my office where I own the team, which would be cool as hell, by the way. And I'm going, Duke, like, again, man, here we are. I'm asking you again, like, why can't you fix this? And in any profession, when you have that conversation repeatedly, like, why can't you fix this? Why can't you fix this? Hey, how come you can't fix? At some point, you go find somebody else. And so that's where I am. And
I agree.
The team meeting, the ping pong table, the asteroids machine, whatever the hell they have in there, none of that's going to fix it.
I agree. I don't know that we've ever seen this level of directly to Duke. I think that's where it should be going, and maybe should be going for a longer period of time. I don't, to me, my thing is like, I don't know how much you can talk about Zac Taylor without talking about Duke. To me, I just feel like that would be okay. It's just the next, if you just got rid of Zac Taylor, but you had the same person this was your guy. You're in cohesion with him. This is the combo together to go run it back with somebody else. I just think that there's an intertwined nature to who they are. Can I offer you my philosophical take on the Bengals organizationally right now?
For the love of God, please, because I'm out of them.
I don't know that it's going to make anybody feel any better, but
it
has made the most sense to me in understanding how they've gotten to this point and what they've sort of been over the last however many years. This is an organization of quarterbacks. You have Duke Tobin, who sees the game through the eyes of a quarterback. You have Director of College Scouting Mike Potts, former quarterback. You have your head coach, sees the game through the eyes of a quarterback, former quarterback. Your top assistant, Dan Pitcher, former quarterback, sees the game through the eyes. There are quarterbacks everywhere. Everything is quarterback driven, and that's great. Like, I'm not necessarily bashing that at all in terms of that's the modern game. That's the way you should be. And I think that has been apparent in the way that they put their offense forward. They evaluate the quarterback position. They evaluate the receiver position. They are able to consistently find ways to churn out productive passing games. They also don't seem to have a clue what they're doing on the defensive side of the ball. They don't seem to have a clue what they're doing in the trenches. And I think you're looking at an organization that doesn't have people in place that are experts in that world as much, at least certainly not in the highest positions of decision making across. Where is the defensive person? And I would say that organizationally, and the quarterback thing goes all the way. I mean, Mike Brown. I mean, they're quarterback receiver guy. Like, I'm not even meaning to leave them out. It's just that's kind of who they are organizationally. When has it ever been different with this defense? When has it ever been different? When Mike Zimmer was here, okay? When Mike Zimmer came in and started making decisions in terms of player acquisition and building the defense, and it was great. Outside of that, the defense has always not been very good for a long, long time. Lou Anarumo's run for those couple of years when they had all the money to spend and they went and spend it, which was as much about the fact that they hit on the quarterback and the two receivers on the rookie contract as anything. They did a great job of building that. Like, it's not an easy button to have that money and get it right like they did those couple of years, specifically on the defensive side of the ball. But there's just no track record of being able to do it consistently. And I go back to that. Like, I see an organization that is everything is viewed through the lens of quarterback and passing game. And I just don't think there's enough voices in the room that have a good enough understanding of defense and trench play that are being able to be impactful in those conversations.
And I don't see it changing through all of this. I mean, it feels it's almost we know Mike Brown is loyal to a fault. And so Duke Tobin can't fix this in season. Yeah, they could make a trade, but is there anybody out there they could go get right now that's going to make a big difference on this defense? So then you get to the off season and it's like, okay, then it's not about loyalty. It's about hope in the face of reality. It's like, okay, this is the year that he'll get it right. And they don't like to make changes and they just kind of, the hope is the plan kind of thing again. And they just roll it over one more year and you just keep cycling through the same thing over and over again. But I agree with you. You know, they had for a while, they had Duffner as a senior assistant, a guy that he's not in the high positions you're talking about, but they don't even have really that right now on defense. Al Golden's got a lot of experience on defense, but in terms of building
not in the NFL.
Right. True. I mean, just a few years as a linebackers coach and a tight ends coach too, right? He was a tight ends coach before he was still on the offensive side when he cut into the NFL. So it is, I don't know how you fix it without going out and adding to that staff, or I don't see him doing it, but adding to the personnel staff and getting somebody in that, like you said, that has that kind of pedigree. And I don't know if I say hope, but my expectations of that happening are very low.
Everything you said about the organization being quarterback and offensive centric is accurate. Like, if you think of the highest points in the history of the franchise, I think of the Super Bowl run 2 years ago, and I think of defense first, quite frankly, because of all the just opportunistic plays. But if you think of the high points of the early 80s, late 80s, mid 2000s, to a large degree, 2011 through 2015, and then 21 and 22, you think of offensive guys. But Duke Tobin needs to have played linebacker to look at last year's defense and go, hey, I've got to fix it. Like, I've never played safety before, but I could tell you last year's safety play stunk. And I spent all summer going, well, sure, we're doing this, huh? Gino's okay. So, like, I understand it, man. I'm here for add as many perspectives, people, add as many experts, add as many different backgrounds as you can. Former players, analytics nerds, offensive guys, defensive guys, coaches, people from college, like, bring them all in. There's no background I'm not interested in. But you couldn't look at last year's defense and go, we should probably move on from some of these guys. Instead, they brought them all back. So I keep thinking about, like, next year's fix. Paul, you mentioned before, like, Duke Tobin threw a whole bunch of money at that defense in 2020 and 2021, right? And there were players they had drafted, Jesse Bates, Sam Hubbard, etc., right? But it was easy, hey, overpay for DJ Reader, which they were accused of doing, and they needed to do, and pay a lot of money for Trey Hendrickson, and throw money at Chidobe Awuzie, and throw money at Von Bell, and throw money at Mike Hilton, some guys more than others. The way they've tried to build the team over the last couple of years is going to have to be how they build the team next year. So Duke Tobin, assuming he's still going to be running the show next offseason, is going to have to try to do what he has failed to do. Why should I have any faith in that? Well, why should I have any amount of faith that suddenly we're going to wave a magic wand and Duke Tobin is going to nail it in the draft with defensive guys and smart free agents who don't cost a ton on that side of the ball? Why should I all of a sudden assume that Duke Tobin is going to figure out a way to build an elite offensive line using the resources that he has? Because he hasn't been able to. And that's the frustrating thing for me, man. Like the way they build the team moving forward is not going to change. Burrow's contract isn't going anywhere. Chase and Higgins probably aren't going anywhere. So we said it when they decided to spend all the money on offense. They're going to have to nail it in the draft on defense. The track record this decade in the draft, both sides of the ball, but the track record this decade in the draft, specifically on defense, is horrific. McKinley Jackson never plays. Chris Jenkins is playing less. Jermaine Burton never plays. That could have been a defensive player. I'm watching rookie linebackers right now who look clueless. Maybe they'll end up being good and there'll be a payoff for the growing pains they're going through right now. But in the short term, man, like Cam Taylor-Britt gets benched more than he does anything on the field. There's a whole slew of guys that were supposed to be a part of the solution, that were supposed to fill in for guys who left, who were on the team in 21 and 22 that Duke Tobin picked, and none of them have worked out. You look at the draft classes from this decade, how many of those dudes, aside from DJ Turner and Chase Brown, are you like, beyond the obvious guys, Burr, Chase, etc., how many of those guys do you want here moving forward? That's a Duke Tobin problem. And so this isn't so much about blame. It's not about scapegoating. It's not about fire just for the sake of making us all feel better for 10 minutes. I'm trying to figure out, in the Joe Burrow window, where this team by now is supposed to be competing for championships, how is Duke Tobin going to take a trash can defense and turn it into one that you can win a championship with before Joe Burrow's contract ends? I have zero faith that that's going to happen. And if anybody disagrees with me, I'd like to know where that faith comes from.
It's a great point, and I totally agree with you. I try to look at it through the reality of will that happen? Because there is no running from this track record. There is no running from, these top 100 draft picks, premium picks. You were given years, a half a decade worth of premium picks that you used over and over again to try to build this thing, and multiple coordinators now, after the Luana, what happened with Luana Rumo, which I'm not saying that was right or wrong. Like, you had to try something else with these young guys. But like, now multiple coordinators, all of these top picks, not a bunch of scrubs, and even a star in Trey Hendrickson, who's been around to try to rebuild. And it's just, if there was some semblance that these guys were working out, or where it wasn't just, boy, Miles Murphy and Shamar Stewart and Joseph Osai and Chris Jenkins all sure feel like the same unproductive player to me. And they all sure feel like guys that were, wait till you see them. Once these traits start to come together, I know they weren't productive, but it's like, okay, if that is a GM philosophy in drafting defensive players, and the same thing with whether it's corners that whatever it is, like, none of it's working out. To me, though, the reality of it is, and Jay, you said you don't have much faith in anything changing. I think it's never felt more possible, and I don't mean that it's likely. I'm not sitting here saying like this is going to happen. I'm not saying that I'm that much farther from what Jay said. I'm just saying, like, when it starts to pile up like this, okay, I just feel like it's the first time it feels like maybe those cracks are showing up. And when you start really analyzing what the decision would have to be, if you were going to do something like, okay, this thing is a true blow up, I think your analysis, Mo, that you just said is going to be part of the analysis in that room. I know their patience. I understand who Duke is organizationally. Lord knows I do. I mean, I've written it. He's family, right? So the idea of him being cut out is a crazy thought, and I don't think it's likely. But I do think that it feels like there's more cracks in it right now than there has ever been. But that's also partially because of just the way that things are compounding right now. If you do see the arrow start to go up, even if slightly defensively over the second half of the season, there's a lot of season for that to change. I mean, we know how that can go over the course of the years, whether it was dealing with Marvin Lewis or currently with Zac Taylor or with whoever. I think there's still going to be faith in the direction that they're going, as long as it doesn't totally cascade in the wrong direction. But this, days like Sunday are the types of days that start changing even the strongest opinions.
You've got me thinking about something too, because so they talk all the time about the aligned vision and how they all see things the same. Well, it's to the point now where it's Zach and Duke have to know one or the other is going to go. And I don't know. I'm not saying that they're at each other's throats, anything like that, but there's going to be some headbutting, and we know that Zach has Mike's ear. Mike has done some things that he hasn't wanted to do in the past that Zach has kind of asked for, and you could see it coming to a head. Mike could have to choose between those two, depending on how the rest of this year plays out. And so from that standpoint, then maybe it does. If he has to make, if it's one or the other, then maybe that is the way he goes, and maybe he sticks with Zach and they move on from Duke. But again, in the grand scheme of things, I just don't see them, because of what you said. He's family. They don't like to make changes. And there's always that renewed hope when a season starts that this year will be different, even though there's years to prove it. It's not.
It would be the most stunning thing that I've seen on this beat. I mean, truly, I honestly, I mean, just by the nature of what that role has been and the faith that they have in the job that Duke has done over the years. And, the fact that I think when they sit there and evaluate Zac Taylor, and we'll see how this year ends, they're going to say Super Bowl, AFC Championship, winning record with some trouble, right? I'm not defending it. I'm telling you what's going to be said. Okay. And they're going to say, you know what? I still see you making the most out of, winning record with Joe Flacco. Mm-hmm. And I do think the job that they have done offensively this year in the last couple of weeks has been nothing shy of masterful.
Yes.
With Flacco to get in and this offense to immediately play at the level that it has been is crazy. But so that's the stuff that's going to be, that's the argument. That's the conversation that's going to be had, is that stuff's happening. But yeah, the what's happening with the defense and the draft picks and the free agent classes piling up together here, and them not having an answer for your question that you have as the manager of Duke Tobin, Mo, of why can't you fix this? Mm-hmm. I just think it's getting louder. That's all I'm saying. Is I definitely feel like it's hard not to. It is getting louder.
I've asked it multiple times this year. Duke, why can't you fix this? I'm sure he'll make himself available next week during the bye week, and you guys can throw all these questions at him, because, if there's one thing Duke is, it's available publicly. But again, like Duke, you've had a long time to fix a couple of major areas of your team, and you have not been able to do that. And you do not get the excuse of, well, golly gee, we're paying a handful of guys a lot of money. Like, dude, it's the NFL. You have a star quarterback. Figure it out. And, again, getting back to the verbiage of the summer, just got to build a league average defense. Like, the bar is so low.
Yeah.
The bar, Duke, we're asking you to find a way to build a defense that isn't atrocious. And you can't do that. Come on. I have two other questions.
Okay.
If you took everybody in the United States who plays ping pong, what percentage are football players? It feels like the number's got to be 80. In no other setting is anybody like, hey, we got a ping pong table.
Yeah.
A lot of parties in my day, right? They're at flip cup tables, foosball tables, pool tables, poker tables. There's never been a yearning, hey, wish we had a ping pong table down here. I'm guessing the number is close to 80. Also, the whole leadership on defense thing, didn't our guy number 91 want to be captain?
Yeah.
Wasn't that a big deal? Going? Captain, my captain. I want to be captain. All right, captain. You got the C on your chest, big boy. But the coach is out there saying there needs to be leaders on defense. What is the purpose of being a captain if the coach is wondering who can lead the defense? Thank you.
And I know you're hurt, but like it's not like there's been all kinds of rallying the troops happening behind closed doors or even out in the open or just about anywhere they're clearly devoid of that.
Trey is hurt, and when he has played, he's played his ass off. Like I understand that, but I come back to midsummer when it was like, well, he wants to be captain, and I'm like, okay, kind of weird. He hasn't been one yet, but all right. What does a captain do? Well, this is what a captain is supposed to do. Is it just about being there for the coin flip? Or you actually, like, to me, if I was Trey, I would take that personally, unless I sucked as a leader, right? Hey, wait a minute. I got the captain. I'm the most accomplished player on this defense. I've got a reputation for playing really hard when I am healthy. And yeah, I'm physically compromised right now, but I'm the captain. I'm the leader. I'm the guy. Or it doesn't matter to him because the whole captain thing was, I don't know, just not something that he or anybody else really took all that seriously.
Did you ever do like an extracurricular in high school just because you knew it? Yeah. But no, I'm going to give you credit where this is where I think you could have landed. Something like, some truly weird one that sounds good, like some sort of maybe debate or like an honors society or something like that you really didn't have to do anything in, but definitely look good on your resume. If you showed up one time, like you could get that, you could write it down, say you were in the group. No one's going to care or check up on whether you actually did anything with it or not, but it gets to go on your like college application. I feel like that's kind of what we're getting from the Trey Hendrickson, I want to be a captain situation.
So I was a safety patrol.
There we go. Safety patrol.
Because
what does that entail?
You got a badge and you got to go to Kings Island on safety patrol day.
What do you do? Like you just learn about being a security guard?
You help kids cross the street?
I have no remote idea. I didn't do a damn thing.
Is that what got you into Dayton?
Being on the safety patrol. So I literally was thinking about this morning because I dropped my daughter off at school. And for the first time this year, I noticed the safety patrol kids. They've got like the sash with the badge. And my daughter's like, what are they? I'm like, those are safety patrol kids. And she's like, what's that? And I go, they will be mall cops one day. It's going to be great. You got to go to Kings Island for safety patrol day. I never patrolled the hallways. I never checked for hall passes. I didn't care. I just knew safety patrol day was a thing and I wanted to go. And so in the 6th grade, safety patrol.
Well, I love our listeners. And I feel like this is a great opportunity for someone to send us in a photo of what you envision Mo on safety patrol looked like, and we can share those next week when you come back on the show, which I can't wait for. I also can't wait to hang out with you for an hour at Oakley Greens from 3 to 4 on ESPN 1530 this afternoon. 3 to 4.
3 to 4. It was worth wondering, like, and I was in the 6th grade. I wasn't the smartest kid, but I'm like, we have to have a safety patrol, but we have like 3 paid hall monitors. Like retired bus drivers or whatever. Like what do they do that now as a 6th grader, I have to put on a badge so I can intercept older kids running through the halls? Like why? So anyway, got to talk about my safety patrol days. And frankly,
I
that's
love it.
more fun.
I'm so excited. That's how this
Tobin.
ended. It's a fitting end to as we continue to go through. This won't be the last time we have this conversation, and I look forward to seeing everyone's submissions of Mo on safety patrol. All right. Thanks, Mo. Appreciate it. I will see you this afternoon.
Okay, thanks, guys. See you.
Thanks again to Mo Egger for joining us. You just never know where these segments are going to go, Jay. No. You just don't. And I appreciate that we ended up where we did. I do want to say it is Jay's Got Stats time, and we have to kind of piggyback on something that's been ongoing here, and it's not done yet. I feel like this is definitely not the last time we're going to be talking about this stat.
No, because maybe it will be. The stat is the Bengals have given up 27 points, at least 27 points in 7 straight games, and that's a franchise record now. Only one other team did it more than 4 times in a row. And that was the 2002 team that had separate streaks of 6 and 5 in a row. That's how bad that team was. But 7 it's a new bar. In the Super Bowl era, 1966 to present, there's only 5 other teams that have done it. And the record is 9. The Bengals are right there on the cusp of the NFL record for consecutive games, allowing 27 or more points, which means they could break the record before they even go to Baltimore and play the Ravens on Thanksgiving night. It's right there. The other thing, though, this is what will be the most damning. They've already set the franchise record. They're on the cusp of the NFL record. The team they could break the streak against, the Bears, on Sunday, has only scored 27 once this year. If that team, like the Jets, who everybody thought was stellar, if they come in and put up 27 or more on this defense, it feels like Armageddon.
I don't know. They scored 31 against the Cowboys, who are basically the NFC Bengals.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, same thing. They scored 25 against the Raiders, 25 against the Commanders, 26 against the Saints. They've been on the cusp.
Yeah, but
only 16 against that Ravens defense, which was a little surprising this past week. Maybe the Ravens defense is starting to right itself. That was a big win, by the way, in the AFC North picture, where it felt like that would kind of put Baltimore totally down and out. Now Baltimore hits this very favorable run in their schedule, having righted their defense a little bit and getting Lamar back. Let's run down the Ravens schedule here quickly. They obviously just have the 2 wins, 2-5, but they now go 3 in a row on the road, but they're going to Miami on Thursday, Minnesota, and the Cleveland Browns, and then the Jets, and then they play the Bengals, Steelers, Bengals. So you tell me who scares you in that group. If that Ravens defense can get a little bit more in line with what they hoped it would be, maybe it's health or whatever, and Lamar comes back and starts lighting the offense back up, and you just have to face that slate in front of them. Yeah, you can see them getting back into it real quick, but that Bears game is going to end up turning out to be huge, I feel like, for them to have won that game with Snoop Huntley, who looked really good, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, 1-6, that's hard to come back from. And of all the crazy things we've seen in the league, what's happened at Ravens defense might be one of the most surprising. So they've got some real dudes over there. Now, like you said, they've been hurt. Getting healthy is going to be a big part of it. But you really can see a path where that unit gets it together, starts playing better. You wonder about Lamar, because hamstring injuries have a tendency to linger and re-aggravate. But if he can come back and finish the season and the defense gets better, well, there's a reason why the BetMGM odds were what they were, even when they were 1-5 and it looked like the Steelers were going to run away with this thing. And they were right. They were almost co-favorites. They were right there together as far as who was going to win this division. The bettors saw it, or the books saw it. And now we're starting to see maybe that picture crystallizing.
Yeah, the books do tend to see it, don't they? They seem to always be right there. All right, you've got your stats, which I feel like the books are paying attention to your stats. I think that's why that line against the Jets was only 5.5, and they knew and they saw it coming. They saw it coming. They were reading Morbidson.
I'm surprised that the Bears are favored by 1.5 in Cincinnati on Sunday. I wait that the opening lines come out Sunday night, and you kind of think in your head what it's going to be. And I was thinking Bengals by 2 or 3. I was really surprised to see Bears by 1.5. That's not a team that's playing all that well.
Yeah. No, you're right. And the books didn't like them. I thought that line was crazy. In Baltimore, they were the Bears were not favored against the Ravens, considering it wasn't going to be Lamar. And then turned out, again, they were right. Trivia. Do you got some trivia for me?
Yeah. So Joe Flacco, 3 straight games, they haven't turned the ball over. Flacco obviously hasn't thrown an interception because they haven't turned the ball over. So in his 3 starts with the Bengals, his 784 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, and no interceptions. He is only the 2nd player since the 1970 merger to post those numbers in his first 3 games with a team. Can you name? No, you can't name. I'll give you hints. We can try to work through some hints, but there's only one other guy that's done it. He did it in 2013. Do you know who it was?
In his first games with the team.
First 3 games with the team, and he played for 7 different teams.
Oh my gosh.
Think career backup.
Career backup 2013. Boy, that is I'm not going to get this. I don't have it. I don't even have a good guess here.
Yeah, no, it's surprising. It's Case Keenum.
Case Keenum?
Case Keenum, his first 3 games in that season with the Houston Texans, 822 yards passing, 7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. The team lost all 3 games. They lost by 3 to Arizona, by 3 to Indy, and by 1 to Kansas City.
Wow. I would never have thought that.
No.
Unbelievable. Case Keenum, though, you know what you ride that to? A career of making NFL money.
Yeah.
You know, good for Case Keenum, who, how long was his career? How many years did he end up playing?
He came into the league in 2013 and played 2023. So a book ended it. He came in with Houston and he finished it with Houston, played with the Rams, the Browns, the Broncos, the Vikings, the Commanders, and the Bills. 11 seasons, 66 career starts in 11 seasons.
All right, let's play it. Case Keenum career earnings game, Jay. Can you name it? Case Keenum career earnings over those seasons.
90 million.
Oh, he wishes. That's very nice of you.
Yeah.
$57.2 million for Case Keenum. I mean, that run went a long way to making that man $57 million in this league. That's unbelievable. How about that? Good for you. Be a backup quarterback if you can, kids. All right. Let's move it forward. Let's talk a little bit about the Growler Bet. This is intrigue, Jay. Intrigue to me.
Are we going double overtime?
We are not.
Oh.
So we had last week we had a 2-person tiebreaker. We had Tyler Thurston, who's was on a heater. He came in late the 1 week and had the correct answer. We didn't count it because he came in after the kickoff. And then he came in and nailed it again the last week. But then somebody else, Jana Dorton, she ended up nailing it as well. So they had a tie break, and they each had to say the long reception by the Bengals in Sunday's game to decide who would win that one. Tyler was not right. Jana ends up getting it. She said 35. Tyler said 65. The answer was the 44-yard touchdown pass to T. Higgins. So Jana is the winner of the drinks on us at the next live show at BetMGM. But it goes on because this week's Growler Bet was Justin Fields' passing yards, right? We thought it could be anywhere. It could be -10. It could be 300. Like, who knew? I thought it was one of the hardest ones. It ended up being 248. It was Justin Fields, or the Jets net passing yards was the number. Not just Justin Fields, but Jets net passing yards, 248. Tyler Thurston again.
Jeez.
249. Oh, so close. So close. So now Tyler's run, there should be a 30 for 30 on Tyler's run here. He was late, just barely by 15 minutes to kick off, but nailed it, gets nothing. He nails it as the first submission the next week, but he ends up in a tiebreaker, narrowly loses the tiebreaker. Then in a really hard one, ends up just 1 yard away, but we didn't specify anything. So it ends up being just so close. It's really sad. I'm actually kind of feeling bad about it right now.
Yeah,
like I feel like it's a really impressive run. He deserves kudos, but we can't just break the rules. We can't just change the rules. This is it. That is not correct. That is not the correct answer. It is very close. It's just not right.
How about just one round of drinks on us?
That's just not. I just don't know that we can do that. I just don't feel like we've gotten. That's not in any bylaws. We didn't make any amendments about that. I feel like that'd be unfair to other people that have been just one away in the past.
True.
I feel like we just got to be true to ourselves. I'm giving praise. This is what I can give right now is praise for the run that Tyler is currently on and appreciation. That said, I do want to give some of our shout outs to those with some good subject headers for us this week. I always love people that listen to different shows and work them in. Ray White, always the best. If my growler bets aren't funny anymore, just kill them off like a side character. With a shout out to Bill, who said he wanted us to feel free to kill him off. We check in on how he's doing because he just seems like he's struggling a little bit on Who Dey Light every week. And we're not going to kill him off, but I appreciated that reference from Ray White. Trevor with a no country for old growlers, which I feel like we could kind of do every week a little bit here with Joe Flacco in charge. Dave Allen with a quote, Paul, you better not be hanging out with that J kid anymore. I heard he's taking the marijuana and doing growler on the beach somewhere. People jumping in with thoughts on your exploits at the Luke Combs beach function. Shantanab with these growlers are making me thirsty, and Joe Flacco loves Seinfeld, which definitely deserves a reference on the Fitz and Wit podcast. Flacco pointed out that he is a big Seinfeld fan, which makes me very excited to think about what maybe I can have a different Seinfeldism that I can drop in about Flacco's game each week on the walkout or something like that.
You should definitely do that.
That feels like that's right. Someone pointing out, I've seen this from multiple places, a line that you used, I think it was last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, where you just said, quote, I was like 69, end quote, Jay Morrison. So I'm pointing out that was an actual line that you said.
When did I say that?
Go back into the archives on that one. Anyway, thanks to everybody for getting your submissions into the Growler Bet, and make sure you're listening to the prediction episode this week with Jay and I previewing the Bears game, and we will let you know this week's Growler Bet. Arby's, Jay, you got some Arby's from your big, fantastic voyage?
Yeah, it was a fun time. I was a little, I don't know. The way it was set up, there was just a lot of people watching the opening acts, just kind of there to be there, and they're talking, and you want to hear the music. So that was frustrating. Then I almost got my butt beat on the beach because of the same thing. They were doing a bonfire, and guys are just playing acoustic guitars, and they're singing really softly, and there's all these people, a really cool vibe. All these people standing around, watching, listening to them. There's these 4 people right on the edge of the circle, just loud as can be. So I just go over very nicely. I said, hey, would you guys mind backing away from the circle a little bit? And the guy's like, yeah, sure, sorry. Well, one of the girls that was with him starts MFing me and screaming and yelling. And she's like, we're drinking on the beach. We can do it. The girl I was with, one of my wife's friends, kept looking over at him. I'd never turn my head. I expected her to come flying in at any point and either throw a drink at me or take a swing. But I think the guys just kind of ushered her away and got them away. So that was interesting. The best part was I'm in Florida, and you know this. We do it on road trips all the time. The Saturday night show. I'm walking in, and we get there, and it was basically a girls' trip in Jay. And so all the girls want to go to the merch tent, do all the shopping. I was like, I'm getting a beer and sitting down. So as I'm walking to my seat, I hear these 4 people scream "Who Dey" right as I walk by. And they're like, we saw you coming. And I don't know if it's because I had a Cincinnati shirt on or if they recognized me from the show, but I like to think they recognized me from the show. I didn't stop and talk. Like I said, I wasn't in a hurry to just sit my butt down. It had been a long day. Just wanted to sit there and have a beer before the show started. But then in security line on the way home, a guy did recognize me. He's like, so I guess you're not going to be on the walkout today. Because again, I listened to the game on the ride to the Uber. So while we were in the security line is when the walkout would have been recorded. So his name was Steven, I believe. I'm sorry if I'm getting that wrong, but a really nice guy. It was really cool to meet him. And then we get back to Cincinnati, and we're waiting on the luggage to come out on the carousel. And my daughter had got me a Rhine Guy shirt that I was wearing. It's the Sunday Drinking Club. And it's a club for the clubless is what it says on the back. And a guy came up, recognized me, and he's like, is it too late to join? And I was like, no, if you want to have a drink at 10 o'clock at night, or I think it was 8:39 by that point. I was like, by all means, go ahead. He's like, it's just a Cincinnati tradition, just sadness and drinking on Sunday. So it was great. It was great to see people out in the wild that were Growl pals, and it was a good time. I was glad I got to go and see Luke Combs 2 nights, but it was a lot. There was a little bit of recovery involved, and then I exasperated that with staying up till 3:30 last night watching baseball.
least surprising thing ever that you were the regulator of the drum circle for me, Jay.
I never even attended the drum circle. That was just a
bonfire. Whatever that was, the bonfire,
yeah.
the bonfire regulator. Someone had to step up, and you're going to be that guy.
Yeah,
you know, that's why we have you. That's why you're there.
They're playing music for a reason. They want people to listen. No one wants to hear you guys.
Love it. I'm just happy that woman did not attack you from behind. That would have been. You know, when we're sitting there doing the walkout and like a news item comes across my push alerts about you in a fight on the beach, arrested.
59-year-old man thrown into fire on beach.
Morrison, 59, you don't want that. You never want your age and commas after your name in the news story. All right, great stuff, Jay. Great to have you back. Shout out, thanks to Charlie for pinch hitting this weekend on both prediction and the walkout. Good stuff. As always, go back and check out the rewatch. We'll have Who Dey Light coming back later this week. So all the stuff you come to expect coming your way. Thanks everybody for listening and for watching. We'll talk to you next time.